All right, hello and welcome to the NAGA preseason game between Portland and Louisville. Obviously, watching a lot of games, seeing everything is going down. It's been pretty great so far. Today, we're going to witness the top GMs, of course, in my opinion, go at it between Louisville and Portland. Portland, a sustained franchise of success. Louisville, a upstart rising candidate for potentially Coach of the Year, and of course, a dark horse for the playoffs. So we're going to see how these teams face off. Of course, you've got Jake Britton and Tyler Weber, both new faces, new quarterbacks coming in here. We've got Amani Garrison and Scooter Wallace both popping in here as well. And then finally got Deshaun Summers and Elijah Griffin. As for the expert picks, Louisville has a 58% chance of winning with Danny Joe taking Louisville and Dave taking Portland, with James bringing up the rear with Louisville winning it. Pause on that previous statement. And now we move forward. Let's go ahead and take a look as we fix that real quick. Of course, that is Philadelphia, the train station. We'll go ahead and hit this game started. Louisville wins the toss. Decides to receive for the first half. And of course, you can see these excellent jerseys made by Mr. Dino himself. As Griffin with the return, taken down by number 2. Just shy of the 20-yard line. That'll be at the 16-yarder. Got a couple of new faces here. Obviously, we got to talk about Mr. Jake Britton taking over in Louisville. Sort of trying to get this franchise off of its back that it's been on for the past 3 seasons and on its feet with winning performances. Wallace with the stiff arm, sliding to the right, going forward, gain of 6 yards. And of course, as we look at these two teams defensively for Portland, you've got some massive studs. James Elmer, the middle linebacker, got Shontavious Walker, the defensive end, as Wallace just bullying his way up for a gain of 7. And Jarvis Malone will now sub in for Mr. Scooter Wallace. This is something we've not really used to seeing from in Louisville, and that's getting 2 first downs in the same drive. Jake Britton back to pass. Blitzer's coming. Was able to avoid him. Burns with a great catch. Gain of 14 yards, and of course, Mr. Shakir Burns was an acquisition from Virginia Beach. This offense for Louisville is quite stacked, quite loaded, if I do say so myself. It's a pitch out to Malone. Got a couple blockers. Oh, he's able to find a lane for a little bit there. Gain of 4 yards, 2nd and 6. And Wallace coming back in. To headline the trade, Shakir Burns, considered one of the top wide receivers in the league, isn't even the starter. He's not even the first wide receiver. It's Elijah Griffin. Then Shakir Burns, and then, of course, Milton Leggett. As, of course, as we talk about Mr. Shakir Burns, he commits a false start penalty, so 2nd and 11. This yardage is something that we are more used to from Louisville. But, of course, time of possession, 2 minutes, 4 seconds, 5 plays, 31 yards. It's probably the best average Louisville has had in the past 2 seasons. Britton back to pass, got all day. He's going to throw it. Wow, number 54. Who was that? Of course, that is, as spoken before, Mr. James Elmer, 30-year-old star middle linebacker. Great swat. Not even the man he was supposed to be on. Of course, high IQ players like that make high IQ plays. Go! Sprint pitches to Wallace. Wallace has a massive lane. Fullback trying to give him some more yards. Gain of 7. This will be a punt. Promising start for the Louisville Kings. Not a lot of things are to be expected from Louisville. They are, of course, considered dark horses in a lot of things. So while we enjoy the moves that they have made, the draft picks that they have used to draft with their rookies, of course, we all got to remember where they're coming from. And, of course, now we're at Portland. Tyler Weber, the former quarterback for the San Antonio Fighters, now under center. In this beautiful, beautiful gray jersey. Amani Garrison absolutely throwing a 310-pound man off of him like nothing. 2nd and 9, only a gain of 1. Got to look at this defensive side for Louisville. And, of course, Louisville is a more offensive side of the ball. type of team, but don't be fooled, as Darius Mobley, their top defensive back, and of course, Garrison gets the handoff running to the right. And of course, Sam Brown, the strong safety. These two guys are sort of the anchor of their defensive back position. Middle linebacker could definitely use some work, and of course, the defensive side of it, Michael Varnado and Rashad Elam is a forced fumble. Harris getting taken down. Number 98, Mr. Tavon Harrington with the forced fumble. And of course, Jonte Harris, the onside linebacker, with the forced fumble recovery. So Louisville starting inside the red zone. Talk about how they're more on the offensive side of things. The defense comes out, gets a massive hit. And the best part about all this is they only have 3 defensive tackles at that position for their 4-3 defense. So being able to see Tavon Harrington come out and light that man up like that, as Wallace running to the left, being pushed back, gain of 6, 3rd and 2. Jarvis Malone now coming in. As we head back onto the defensive side of things. As Shontavious Walker's going to be expected to get a stop here. Malone pushing, fighting, falling forward. First down, 1st and goal. This is definitely something you would not see from the Louisville of old. Wallace off to the left, gets a touchdown. That'll put 6 on the board for Louisville. And I think this is the first time they've ever had an opponent way better than them, leagues above them, and they score first. The heart and soul in this team, definitely something to look into, as the PAT is good. Summers with the return up to the 20. As a future notice for this broadcast, there may be a time period where I am quiet, silent, and or, a little bit less talkative. There are some things going on in the office today. Weber hit as he throws to Bradford. Jaquante Bradford with a 39-yard gain. Incredible. Before I continue and to hype up Mr. Tyler Weber, some things going on in the background in the office, so we're going to go ahead and take care of those things while we can to continue this broadcast. As Garrison off to the left. And so do be warned, and I apologize ahead of time if it may be an extended pause. If anything, we will of course bring in Mike and Dave to finish out some things, but for now we're here as Willis Jr. gets the carry. And of course now we can go back to talking about the game, as Tyler Weber in the trade for Ryan Davis, with Sean Bellamy packaged with Weber. And that's what Portland loves about Weber, and that's what San Antonio loved about Weber, as Garrison gets the handoff to the left, pushing forward, still getting the first down, gain of 8 yards. 1st and 10 inside the 20. San Antonio, of course, talking to Portland a lot during the offseason after the playoffs finished, talking about how much they enjoyed Tyler Weber being able to stay in the pocket and take the hits that he can while delivering a beautiful ball. Of course, David Willis with a 1-yard gain. The problem is that Tyler Weber was not fit for the type of offense that San Antonio was running. He is more of a gunslinger, if you will. So being able to, of course, get rhythm, get tempo was all his groove. And unfortunately, when you hand the ball off 2, 3, 5 times in a single drive, it becomes difficult to find your tempo, as Thurston with the TFL. Louisville is showing off their defensive strengths here. And of course, not that Portland is exactly the most pass-heavy team, as, pass dropped, and I do believe that is number 8, Jaquante Bradford, who had that in his hands, was unable to come down with it. Great coverage. Unable to see who the DBs were, but Tomlinson kicked out. And the field goal is good. As, of course, stated before, Portland is not exactly the most pass-heavy team, but they're definitely not the running team that San Antonio is. San Antonio is way more of a Michigan type, if you will, to compare that to real-life situations. They request their quarterbacks to be ready on third down. Could be third and long, could be third and 5. They request that you get in there ice cold, cold turkey, and rip a 15-yard pass like you've been playing all game. And unfortunately, Tyler Weber is not that type of quarterback. But for Portland, he fits that exact mold, and you bring his favorite left tackle, his best buddy on the team. Helps Portland's offense get all that type of chemistry back. And of course, now he almost continues. Jake Britton, blitzer in his face. Oh, the pass dropped by number 1, Scooter Wallace. Running back leaked out and unfortunately just took a little bit too long to go ahead and get that done. Unfortunate, but of course, like I said, Louisville is not really used to all this type of success, if you will, as Scooter Wallace first down, gain of 9. Louisville being in the dumps, having been, I don't even think they've been owned. If they have been, it was for a very short stint, but they've sort of been relegated to a forgotten team. Iowa Matt, the owner, comes in, wants to take on the challenge, immediately starts making trades, getting draft capital. Britton taken down, loss of 10. Of course, that is Mr. Wells for the Portland Grizzlies. Ty Well, the second defensive tackle. Second and 20, Britton back to pass. He's got all day and then some. Ooh, bad mistake. Unfortunately for Britton, that would have been a good pass, but the defender lost track of the tight end and then broke back down, leading to an incomplete pass, 3rd and 20. It's Wallace in the backfield. Britton back to pass. Line holding up very well, but triple coverage indeed. Number 11 is unable to come down with that. That is, of course, Elijah Griffin. And Louisville will go ahead and punt this one away. Portland ready to return it, of course, is Garland, as he is taken down by Shakir Burns. As I stated before, a lot of this Louisville team is more predicated on the offensive side, outside of their 2 defensive ends. I believe that was number 96, Charles Thurston, trying to get in there. Unfortunately, not strong enough to bring him down, which is a bit crazy to say when you realize that Thurston is 310 pounds and Amari Garrison is 220 and David Willis Jr. is 202. So 100-pound difference. Oh my goodness, loss of 3. Rashad Elam, the second-year defensive end, absolutely lighting Weber up. It's 3rd and 9. This is a bit more of what Weber has been used to. He has tempo. Can they do it? Instead, he decides to hand off to Garrison, and loss of 3 as Thurston finally gets his TFL. Portland's OC kind of expecting a bit more of an explosive play from that, but unfortunately, when you pull your guard to flank left, there is no one to block that area. Unfortunately, Thurston predicted the play, broke through the seam, and of course stopped that play well short of the line to gain. It's Britton now back under center. If anything, this is more of a defensive game. Obviously, I understand Louisville scored. Portland put a field goal up. This is Murray shedding a tackle. Nice gain of 1 yard. But as you can see, Louisville's lone score from the opportunistic score coming off of a turnover. But let's not talk about this Louisville offense as if they haven't been able to do things. They've been able to put the ball in the right hands. Of course, you're looking at a playoff team as Britton taken down, but it won't matter as holding against Stephon Garland. And that, unfortunately for them, will bring that one back. Stephon Garland, of course, the starting free safety. And oddly enough, he's the only free safety on the depth chart. Garrett Lyons, who would be the second free safety, is actually limited as a strong safety, and Jake Britton wisely throwing it away on a all-out blitz. As Britton fakes the handoff, blitz coming, but it doesn't matter. He's able to get it to Leggett for a gain of 12 yards. And this is exactly what Louisville was looking into when they were trading for a lot of quarterbacks this offseason. They, in fact, have David Kreutzer as Wallace just shoots up the middle lane. Gain of 7. David Kreutzer was initially their starting quarterback to begin the offseason. However, of course, due to age and regression, he fell from an elite dev trade as Wallace absolutely gaining all the yardage and then some. Kreutzer fell to a superstar dev trait in the league, and of course, turning 33 doesn't do him any favors. So Jake Britton was traded for, only age 27. He is considered elite around the league, as again a run play. Louisville being very smart with not turning the ball over. And of course, Louisville gets 3 years with Jake Britton, only 4 and just shy of $250,000. Very good steal. Just 27, he's got about 6 more years before, of course, regression and age kind of catch up to him. So you get 3 of those years on contract, and then you can decide on whether or not you want to re-sign him. Of course, by that time, I do fully expect Louisville to have drafted their future quarterback. It was Wallace with the handoff, and Wallace nearly got all the yardage back that he needed. 4th and 3, unfortunately. So again, we've got to look at this game with a bit of a rose-tinted glasses, right? Portland, of course, division championship loss to San Antonio, with Ryan Davis getting his back crunched by the defensive tackles closing in on him. And of course, San Antonio then went on to face Columbus. But Portland is a very, very strong team as Summers returns the ball. And he's finding a path, that's for sure. So he gets ahead of the 20-yard line, 21-yard line down, 1st and 10. And of course, Portland fully expects Tyler Rubber to be able to help them in these situations as he hands off to Garrison once more, and I don't even know what just occurred there. I believe Darrell Adams, their left tackle, had a block, which is curious that he was on he was on the inside of the run lane somehow, being a left tackle, and he just let the block go, and the running back ran into him. Weber back to pass. Blitzer's on his left. Oh, number 7, Shakir Burns. No, I apologize. I'm looking at the wrong depth chart. Deshaun Summers. Definitely not a Weber issue there. 85 catch rating per the league sources. He's got to catch that as Garrison now is going to try for the first down and gets it. Gain of 12 yards. But of course, this was also some of the issues that Weber had in San Antonio. Sometimes you throw to a wide receiver and they're wide open, should be an easy catch, and he's sitting in the pocket waiting for the best absolute pass like that one. And absolutely going to get blown up, and despite sitting and waiting, they go ahead and drop the ball anyways. Go! As Muscatello with the catch, as we may need to go ahead and silence here for a couple seconds. There's some stuff going on, so potentially may need to mute here for a little bit, but I will just be 1 moment. So this is a post-edit. We're going to go ahead and insert this audio here as we watch Tyler Weber throw that into triple coverage. Unfortunately, the AI were not able to be grabbed for some cover. The fortunate news of turning off the announcers before every match to ensure the audio is off, but there is no switch to turn them back on mid-game. So that unfortunately is a bit of an issue. Taken down, 1st and 10. It'll be 1st and 10 of the 17 now, second quarter, 3 minutes and 19 seconds left. Sprint motions a minute out to the right. A lot of go routes down the middle, my goodness. As Louisville throws an incomplete pass, Jake Britton, 33% of the day, 3 of 9 for 31 yards. It's a 4-man rush. He's got all day. He's going to dump it off to Meyer. And Meyer just Did a bit of a magic trick on that player right there. I do believe that was number 38 for Portland. Let's go ahead and check out those stats. That was gotta be someone, as Wallace gets the easy first down and then some, pushing forward. Gain of 21 yards, and of course that was number 28, Patrick Young, starting strong safety. Meyer went ahead and put him in a blender so bad he didn't even know where he was. Scooter Wallace now 11 of 87. Sprint hands up ball to Wallace. Wallace TFL'd. Number 90, Muhammad, on a strong safety blitz from the left. Of course, will be a 2-minute warning, so now we enter purgatory. Where, of course, these teams will now decide to pass every single play. Like pass, 4-man rush, blitzer on the right. Gain of 6 yards, so it was a 4-man rush, but a blitz from the outside linebacker on the right, applying pressure, making Brayton get rid of that ball faster than he wanted to with 1 minute and 42 seconds after the clock out. Brayton just launching that one to Leggett. Leggett gain of 3 yards, very nice. Now Rosh will, of course, punt this one, and this one's definitely got to be at the 1. My goodness, I thought it had been out of the bounds, but into the end zone, but no. It's Tyler Weber now in his own end zone. No running backs. Quite the gamble here. 4-man rush, absolutely pancaked. Dawkins with an incredible catch. Gain of 23 yards down the middle, 1st and 10. But of course, is the power of Tyler Weber when you give him a chance to throw the ball. All right, and we are back, so hopefully that will be a post-edit fix. Unfortunately, the announcers are not working for this game, so there is no way to bring in Dave and Mike when needed, so that is very unfortunate. As Tyler Weber 4 of 9 for 70 yards, and we are inside the 2-minute warning, which of course means that there will be nothing but passing going on here. Go! As Tyler Weber launching it to the left. Of course, deflected, brought down. Go ahead and discuss some of the moves while we're going to be sitting here in limbo for a little bit. You want to go ahead and obviously take a look at the most important part of all of this when you look at these two teams and the moves they've made in the offseason to, of course, bring them success where they can. And we're going to look at Louisville's draft. So they only had 4 picks in the offseason. But, of course, they had pick number 3 overall. They had pick 46 in round 2, pick 74 in round 4, and, of course, round 5, pick 104. And, of course, as everyone knows, cornerback Jordan Buford was selected 3rd overall for Louisville as Jake Britton lands a beautiful lob pass to Griffin. So Louisville now calls a timeout, aiming for a potential field goal. Round 2, they went with an offensive lineman who was highly, highly regarded, a left guard, and Carter Peterson. As Britton once again finds the open man again, that is Griffin, so that'll be another timeout by Louisville, their final. So this potentially could be 2 run plays, a spike, followed by a field goal, but of course we'll see how this works out. Britton will motion the man out to the right. Go! Back to pass, 4-man rush, going to throw in triple coverage, and Shakir Burns almost had it. Of course, that isn't obviously a drop, as you can tell by the crowd noise. Wide receiver Kavon Taylor, 79 overall superstar, was projected to go 16th overall for Louisville. But of course, he fell 74 spots down. Well, not 74, but I mean, when you think about it, right, every player drops, that amount because they all believe themselves to be the 1st overall pick. But of course, you have encroachment on Portland, so now that will, of course, give a 3rd and 5, a bit more of a manageable play for Louisville as they aim to put 6 up instead of 3. But we'll see how this play develops. It's the motion Burns, Britton out to the left. Wonderful stopped play. I'm going to try to see if I can find out who that was. I do believe that was Leon. No, that would not be correct. I was going to say Leon Weston, but that man is the 5th cornerback. So if that was Leon, he just made the most important play of his rookie career. So Go ahead and look back at the 3rd overall pick. Believe this or not, Jordan Buford Jr., the 3rd string cornerback. He could technically start over Sean Penley. He'd, of course, be backing up Sam Brown at the free safety position. But for right now, I do want to point out that Louisville's secondary is quite stacked. They have 2 players that are believed to be elite around the league, in Darius Mobley and Trey Edwards, as a flag is thrown down. And you, of course, have Jordan Buford Jr., who is, by all accounts and measures, determined to be a superstar in the league. So not only do they have 2 elite starting cornerbacks, who are both 29 and 27, you then have a superstar free safety and a superstar strong safety. So every single one of their players are top players in the league. I would say Darius Mobley and Trey Edwards have the potential to be top 10 players of their entire position for cornerbacks specifically. And I do think that Sean Penley and Sam Brown have potential to be top 20 players in their respective positions. So Portland, of course, will accept the penalty, move up 5 yards. Not that it'll make much of a difference, as we've been sitting here in purgatory now for what feels like 7 minutes. This back pass, 4-man rush, got a spy over the middle. Bradford. Of course, Portland will not call a timeout, so thank God we've all been spared. We'll go ahead and put the bullets away today. We will not need those. So we will, of course, start the second half immediately for this preseason game. And, of course, you look over at the Portland side of things. And Portland, I mean, a lot of people have grades around the league. We do grade a lot of players. We give our own opinions. However, the league-wide consensus is that if you were to color grade all these players, right, if you were to scale them from 1 to 99, right, and, of course, the color grading, is dark green is, 85 plus. Light green is anywhere from 76 to 84. Portland has only 3 players on their entire active roster who are considered to be yellow. That would be 75 overall. And in fact, they're all graded at 75 overall. The backup to the 2nd string running back, DeAndre Fillmore, 75 rating. The starting fullback, Jason Blaine, 75 rating. As Amari Garrison making people miss out here. And, of course, Leon Weston, their rookie, 75 graded overall. Everyone else, 76, 77, and better. In fact, they have 176. That's John Ragusa, the backup. I apologize, they have 3 correction. Aaron Shell, the 5th string defensive end, and Martez Anthony, the 4th string outside linebacker. Everything else, 77 plus grades across the board. Some of the greatest in the entire league is Weber dropping back, throwing off his foot, and what an incredible catch by Phillips. Number 5, Reggie Phillips, my goodness. And to talk about Portland's offense would to be basically stating that potentially there should be an air raid offense implemented for Portland, because you have Deshaun Summers, Jaquante Bradford, Jameer Bowen, and Reggie Phillips, all who grade at 85 or better at the wide receiver position, with Deshaun Summers showing off 89. Now here's the catch. They have 85, 85, 84, and 84 catching, as Bradford catches that one for 11 yards. So high grades across the board. It's because of their high speed. They're all graded at 86 and better, with Jaquante Bradford being the fastest at 94. And, of course, they're using that speed right now to kill Louisville, trying to get their wide receivers put on linebackers. And, of course, Louisville trying to prevent that by keeping 2 linebackers and a spy in, trying to keep as minimal positioning as they can with all these wide receivers, as Garrison stiff arms him in. Gain of 5. Of course, David Lewis Jr. will now come in. And with that type of speed and that type of talent all around, you've really got to consider that potentially this could potentially be the highest scoring offense if they could just get the passing concepts all finished and kind of dialed up and ready. So now we got a 4th and inches, and if I'm in Portland, I would go for it, but they're probably going to go for a field goal. You always want to take the points. Of course, I'd say Louisville didn't do much, but then again, they have driven down twice and scored 6 points, so to be fair, they are not incapable of moving the ball. They're just having a rough time scoring the ball if they don't get a turnover. It's Tomlinson now. We'll boot this one deep.
Go!
It's Jake Britton will toss the ball off to Burns. Burns finding a way up. Gain of 4 yards. And of course, as we talked about Louisville's drafts, place their picks and whatnot, we also need to go ahead and look at Portland's. Now, Portland doesn't exactly have a defined graphic to podcast, as Britton just gets absolutely annihilated for a loss of 7 by Ty Wells once again. Portland was not discussed on the podcast, I do believe, so they do not exactly have a graphic, and I'm just going to go ahead and double check that. They do not. Spring back pass, launching over the middle. Number 1 unable to come down with that. It'll be 4th and 13 and a punt, so Portland has a chance to tie the game up. And of course, we need to go ahead and find this information on what all Portland had done in the draft. So we'll go ahead and grab that tab for you real quick. As they don't have a graphic, but they do have a media tab that we have created specifically for every team. So every team will have a media tab for themselves. They'll have prior information, player stats, quarterback stuff, running back stuff. Lots of stuff going into all this. It's Weber threading the needle to Dawkins. An incredible pass there. So we head on over, and we're going to pull up the draft tab, make this a little bit easier. We're going to find Portland over here. We'll do select all as Weber once again. Oh, what a great deflection that was by number 56. And that, of course, as everyone knows, is outside linebacker Curtis Green, the star linebacker. So Portland also only having 4 picks. Not exactly too much of their name as Garrison breaks out to the right. Portland picking 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round, and then they had to wait all the way for day 2 for the 6th round. As they went ahead with their 1st pick, grabbing Adam Herbst, the 79 overall star center. Their 2nd round pick, they went ahead and they grabbed a left guard, as Moscatello just way behind the 1st down marker and the line to gain. Almost more work to get back there. The 2nd round pick at 47th overall, they drafted a 78 overall normal left guard. So Portland once again with another field goal, 55-yard field goal complete. That'll complete the score from 6-9. Then, of course, in the 3rd round, they went and got Garrett Lyons, the strong safety. And then for their final pick in the 6th round, they went ahead and tried to grab Jamari Bass, 74 overall cornerback. Could be Bass, could be Bass. I'll let them decide. Louisville now with the ball back again. You can, of course, see those wonderful little colors on their helmet. Of course, the faded... Ooh, Jesus, that scared me. My phone fell. That's Murray. Fullback. Diving out to the left. Got a new phone. It's the Samsung 24 Ultra. And it's a brick. I got the case for it. It's just a giant brick. That's literally what this is, a weapon. I use it for phone calls, and I also use it to fight people off at work. You know, it started annoying me, I just start throwing it. So, not to say that this is the work, because I would never throw this at E or Pasta, unless, of course, they were to say that I'm not allowed to trade for the 1st overall pick again. Just joking. False start against... Did I say Milton Garrett? I need to double check that. I thought that was going to say Myles Garrett. Let's go ahead and find who that was. And man, I'm not seeing anybody here. That's crazy. Well, Britton back to pass. Oh my goodness, he's got all day. He just throws it away right as soon as Burns breaks free over the right side. Terrible, terrible. Trying to find this name on the depth chart, and it's just not happening. That is unfortunate. That is all right. Jake Britton, 11 for 22, 50%. About to be an interception had that secondary safety not dropped over the top and deflected that ball. With these preseason games, we are, of course, testing new settings, looking for a faster simulation, trying to drop from about an hour plus to around no more than 50 minutes. We're looking for about 45 to 48 minutes of gameplay. And of course, that will obviously mean that some of these plays go a little bit faster. We've upped the speed from, I believe, 8.3 to 8.5, maybe 8.6. Just Garrison with the shedding of the tackle, gain of 4. All this in hopes to eventually be able to get to a position where we can finish games, wrap them up, and as the next episode hits, the other game has already been completed. So we're looking forward to that. So far, so good on the tests. This is, of course, being recorded on Saturday. Apologies, Friday, because I don't know what my days are. Today we witnessed 4 games going live today, and of course every single game made it to end on time to the next game with about 10 minutes left to spare. Of course, that is always good to see, as you'd like to be able to prevent the overlap. Now, of course, you know, there are some teams, you know, who you can miss the first quarter. They don't really do too much in the first quarter. A lot of teams, they like Tucson, they like to wait till the second quarter to actually score. For some reason, they take a quarter off, and then they'll score. And then, of course, if you haven't seen the Tucson and Raleigh game, well, I'm sorry I'm going to spoil it here, but yeah, they lost. They lost on a last-second field goal. James Segal is Himothy. It is no longer James Segal. It is James Himgal. So that's his new nickname. Buckingham now punts away. First punt in quite a while. Penley getting taken down, my goodness. And of course, as we were talking before previously, a lot of these teams in the offseason are trying out new things, trying out new playbooks, testing out passing, running, trying to see what all is going on here. And if I'm Louisville, as Bryn just gets demolished again, Ty Wells with his 3rd sack of the game, my goodness. 2nd and 17. If I'm Louisville, I definitely enjoy the passing aspect of things, but it seems that, well, if I'm being completely honest, it seems more like their run game is doing a lot better. As once again, Wallace breaking out to the right, and hey, speak of the devil, gain of 21 yards. If I'm Louisville, I probably look more towards their run game. That seems to be a lot more effective than the pass game, as Wallace now finally hitting over 100 yards. Not his fault, however. It does impact him, as once again, a lot of more blocks coming down the line, but there's a flag, so holding against Stephen Hoffman. So Wallace now will not be getting 117 yards. Of course, we're going to take a look at these stats that they are graded on. I believe outside linebacker, DT Ty Wells is... I have no clue what I just witnessed. I don't even know what to say to that. Ty Wells is the defensive tackle. Just a normal average grade of, they've graded him at an 82 and an 80 overall for shedding tackles, pass blocks. So it definitely seems as though someone on this line, of course they have 4 left guards for Louisville, quite the situation. Honestly, what it could be is it could be at the center, Devin Bakersville is potentially being beat by Ty Wells so often, and once again, that's another deflected pass. So instead of running the clock out, trying to win this game, Louisville will just hand over. I believe they took over less than 30 seconds on the last 3 plays. So they will now boot that one away. There's a lot of talented players in here on this roster, but once you look at the offensive line, you look that is potentially the one that they really need to be looking at. And of course, if I were to be Louisville, I would potentially look at starting your 2nd string center, Victor Azevedo. He's a little bit lower on the awareness grading of things as Garrison off to the right, but he's a way better pass protector. Now, it's not by much. It's quite literally by just 2 digits. But in all, you're going to need that, right? When you've got a player like Ty Wells, who's a defensive tackle, who's not even highly graded across the league, sort of sacking 3 times the same time on basically the same play. So, something to look into. A lot of trades going down. Offensive line not really too heavily looked at by some owners, and of course, that will ultimately come back to bite you. So for a lot of the good that Louisville has done this offseason, I think they need to continue. Of course, as always, this is not a one-and-done type deal for Louisville. They're not here to win the championship this year. They're here to make improvements. Finally gets the return, breaking a tackle, and all he had was one man left for a touchdown. Unfortunate. And of course, once again, I must remind everybody that Portland is a playoff team, a division playoff team, by the way. Won their division, won a playoff game. Apologies, they did not win a playoff game. They had a bye, as that was almost intercepted. So a lot of this game is more so a credit to the talent that Louisville has brought. It's not so much an indictment on Portland as much as how much Louisville has been brought up. Portland is one of those teams that was the heavy favorites. It was Portland and Columbus. They were favored to, of course, meet in the Pacific Championship game. Before that all kind of got wrecked by San Antonio. But like I said, you got to look at teams. You got to look at who they returned, how they returned them, who they brought on, and how they're going to do things. And of course, like I said, as we look at all these teams across the league in the preseason, you really got to wonder, how are they going to pan out, right? You look at the first 4 games we had today, will these teams perform the exact same way, right? Do you look at these teams and do you see the potential for them to build upon what they have, or was it simply the matchup they had? As far as it goes for Louisville, I think this is a great measuring stick. I think this will be one of those games that will really, really help them. And of course, do absolute wonders for them when you look at what do you need to build upon. And that's really what the great part of the preseason is you can sit there, you can watch a game. Usually you're going to be matched up with someone you're evenly matched with unless you request a specific opponent. Summers gets a great catch over the middle. There's a flag down. Of course, it will not matter, as Portland will decline the holding. So obviously there are some owners, they kind of want to try to, take the king down, right? The king of the Atlantic, the king of the Pacific, the king of the NAGA. And to those teams, I would say, hey, fair enough, right? Like, you want to see how you measure up, right? Because the team who won the championship, the team who won their conference is the measuring stick, right? You have to get through them to get to the NAGA championship. But at the same time, I would also say you should probably, oh my goodness, Garrison, what an incredible play. You've also kind of got to look for teams that are about on your league, right? So Portland taking on Louisville is quite interesting because Portland normally would play a team like Columbus. But Sacramento, I believe, took on Columbus to start the preseason. He's whoever back to pass. He's got all day, throwing it to the right to Bowman. Bowman cutting up for 8 yards. And so now you can see, well, Louisville, they're pretty on par, right? Like Portland, they're driving down. They're potentially about to score. It could be 13-12 or 13-16. But Louisville has held their own all game as Willis with the hurdle before the backup tackler comes in with reinforcements to Wilkins on the stop. A beautiful blitz called by Louisville. I don't think you could have drawn up a more perfect play. They will hand it off again to Garrison. He's unable, so Louisville getting the stop. Portland again running, but unable to get the stop. Apologies, not the stop, the first down. As they kick it up. It'll now be 13-12. So this will be an interesting game. Obviously, it's low scoring, but I think the interesting part about this game is how a team like Louisville, who no hope, right? I'd say no promises of going anywhere. And they're able to hold their own against a team that went so far in the playoffs and, in fact, was one of the top 2 seeds. They were number 2. They had a bye week. So, quite the feat as we now hit the 5-minute phase for both teams, both offense and defense. Spreading hands off Wallace. Oh my goodness, just beat right off the snap. And of course, like I said, that's what happens when you have a pulling guard play. You need to make sure that your linemen are fast enough to be able to pull that off, because if not, you're going to have that happen. Where the D end is just way faster. And of course, Britton under pressure. Britton breaking out to the left, a little bit too wide for my own taste. Gain of 3 yards. I think he could have cut it up and got about 4 or 5 yards, but Britain obviously saw something we did not, as now it's 3rd and 13, an obvious passing down, unless they tried to go for Wallace to get the first down, which they could. As the motion burns out to the right. Britain, handoff to Wallace. Wallace, oh, he cut to the inside. Gain of only 6, and now Portland will have a shot to go ahead and take the lead. They'll boot that one way at the 30. Garland over here turning the punt. So a couple things that we got to look at, and we take a bit of a file on for both these teams. I think for Portland, the run game works very well. As far as the pass game, potentially you need to look at new passing concepts. Some of these passing concepts are just not your friends, such as whatever this play is, you should probably not do. It's a completed pass. But the running back, or whoever that was, running over the middle, I don't even think they ran the right routes. They got confused with each other. There was a better defensive play called there. It definitely would have been a dropped pass or a sack. And, of course, as we speak about a dropped pass, I believe that was number 85. Let me go ahead and take a look at that one. I see an 82. 85. Mikey Muscatello. Of course, the 5th string wide receiver, because, you know, can't have enough 5 wide receiver sets. So there's a flag down. Holding against the offense, and that'll be 1st and 10. So a good defensive holding is now going to be threatened by this holding call. So we are just outside the 2-minute warning. This could be the last run play that Portland does. Harrison gets TFL'd. It's Harrington with the TFL. 2nd and 14. There might be a timeout called here, potentially. A lot of teams do like to do that. No, they're going to jump. I think, Jesus. Pretty sure that was 2:03 when the 2-minute warning hit. So Portland now going to be in an all-out pass phase. Unfortunately, this could be the killer. Go! Weber back to pass. Got a blitzer on the right. Throwing to Phillips, avoiding the tackler. Taken down by number 58. That'll be a timeout by Portland. No, it will not. I am shocked. Impressive, though I do understand. Maybe I don't. I don't know. We'll see. Tyler Weber. Back to pass. 4-man rush. Thrown over the middle. Swatted away by number 29. Now 4th and 11. And I think this is more so a game about Louisville than I would say about Portland. I think Portland just needs to kind of adjust some play calling for Tyler Weber. It's Bradford taken down, gain of 6. It'll be a turnover on downs. I do think Tyler Weber potentially has a shot to lead Portland to a very good spot in the playoffs. But you have to remember, Louisville is only winning by 1 because of the forced fumble on the running back. So this isn't exactly to say that Portland obviously is in need of anything, but you also have to remember that Louisville, as I'm trying to remember the name that I'm trying to spin out right now, does have some of the better defensive backs. I would say everywhere. Let's see. Go ahead and pull up some of these stats. They've got 88, 77. Apologies, 87, 88, 84, 78, 75, 71, 78, 77. So a lot of those are going to, of course, take into account as Jake Burton launches it. Dropped. Of course, as I said before, I would definitely be looking more into trying to scheme up these wide receivers, try to go more pass-heavy. I think a lot of running plays are good, but unfortunately, once you get in that 3rd and long, it's a bit of where Louisville can kind of just do whatever they really decide that they want to do. And, of course, this now will be a run play for Louisville. Scooter Wallace is going to... Oh, no, they're going to go for a pass, so this could be it. Oh, Portland with a great deflection. So now we're in a unique situation. Louisville had a chance to just run the clock out. They didn't, and so now Portland gets a shot, but they're... Oh, wow. It couldn't be any more difficult for a team. So they got to go 96 yards in 1 minute and 2 seconds. Wow. That is definitely going to be interesting to see. Tyler Weber in his four-man rush. Back to pass. Surveying. Throwing it down. Bowman with the catch. Caught. 36-yard gain there. Big reception. Of course, time is falling. And of course, Portland trying to rush as fast as they can. 4 wide receivers, 1 running back. Jameer Bowman, 2 receptions on 5 targets for 44 yards. Down to 35 seconds. Weber, oh my goodness. Eviscerated by Thurston. Goodness, at this point, yep, clock control. So they're going to run up, they're going to spike the ball. It's going to be about 2nd and 18, potentially 2nd and 19. 3rd and 17 is I don't know how to count, apparently. As my brain kind of mixed it up, and I was assuming the Kirk Cousins type of play. So they kneel down like a dummy. Weber launching it. There is a flag. This could save Portland. It is. So it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 43 now. So they got 16 seconds. They've got enough time to do an out route for a field goal game-winning play. Tyler Weber officially over 200 yards, over 50%. Got to remember the 2-minute warning did tank some of his numbers. So we got to take that into account. 4-man rush. Launching to Bradford. Here we go. They got 10 seconds. They need to get the field goal unit out. Here we go. Oh, I don't think it's enough. They took way too long. So outside of that, Portland, you would have won it. It's a very close game. Remember, this is a preseason game, everyone, so none of these stats do count. But in my books, I think Louisville wins the real victory. Portland wins the moral victory. And, of course, this says more about Louisville than it will ever about Portland, despite, of course, the stats that have been accrued. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the stats. Jake Britton, 12-31, 123. So he actually had a worse game. Tyler Weber, 19 for 31, 241 game stats-wise. Bradford and Wells. Wallace and Harris, of course. Wells with the 3 sacks. Go ahead and look at the team leaders over here. Tyler Weber, 86 rating. Definitely getting up there near the 100s. Portland, 70 plays, 40 pass plays, again, as well as Louisville with almost 40 as well. Again, you got to take into account that 2-minute warning was about 7 minutes long, so those are a lot of pass plays, a lot of times of punting, failed conversions, a lot of times where passes should not be attempted, yet they were. So this is definitely going to be an interesting one. As Tyrell has the 3 sacks as a defensive tackle. It's got to be the most insane stat line I've ever seen. I don't know the returns, the kick returns, look at the kicking, punts, 3 inside the 20, so Tommy Buckingham going to be a strong candidate for punter of the year. Jake Britton, rushing, of course, over 100 yards. Receptions, no one touched even 50. Bit of a concern for a very pass-heavy looking roster. But, of course, a 100-yard rusher will, of course, offset that. Rashad Elam with his first sack of the Season 4 league year. Deflected passes, forced fumbles. Tavon Harrington, I apologize. I believe I called that correct the first time, but then, of course, Jonte Harris with the recovery. 5 punt returns, 3 kick returns, kicking 2 and 1. Punts 9, and, of course, Michael Rosh with no punts inside the 20. This could definitely be a spot that Louisville looks to, of course, expand upon. So that is that game. I appreciate you all. We will all see you next time in the preseason games.